Wrath of the Lich King. In the tense lead up to the Scourge invasion of Stormwind City and the broader war against the Lich King, the undead forces of the Scourge struck with frightening precision, unveiling their strategy of sowing chaos across the eastern kingdoms. Shortly before their assault on the southern capital, the Scourge launched a series of simultaneous attacks on two key settlements: Goldshire, a bustling hamlet in Elwyn Forest near Stormwind, and Southshore, the resilient coastal town in the Hillsbrad Foothills. These strikes were not random acts of destruction, but a calculated gambit to destabilize the Alliance, disrupt its defenses, and test the resolve of its people ahead of a larger campaign to come. Goldshire, nestled in the verdant heart of Elwyn Forest, was a vital waypoint for travelers and a symbol of rural prosperity under Stormwind's protection. Its proximity to the capital, just a short ride south, made it an ideal target for the Scourge to signal their reach and menace. The attack came without warning. Skeletal warriors and ghouls, driven by necromantic will, poured from the shadowed woods, their guttural cries shattered in the hamlet's peaceful night. The Lion's Pride Inn, a hub of local life, became a makeshift stronghold as townfolks and off-duty guards rallied to fend off the onslaught. Flames licked at thatched roofs, and the air grew thick with the stench of decay as the Scourge pressed their assault, intent on overwhelming the village's meager defenses. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles to the north, Southshore faced a parallel nightmare. This coastal town, a linchpin of Alliance presence in Hillsbrad, had weathered orcish raids and forsaken incursions, but the Scourge brought a new level of terror. Emerging from the icy waves and the fog-shrouded cliffs, undead abominations and death knights led a relentless charge against the docks and streets. Fishermen and dock workers, caught unprepared, scrambled to arm themselves with harpoons and axes, while Alliance soldiers stationed there mounted a desperate counterattack. The town's strategic value, its port, which facilitated trade and troop movements, made a prime target, and the Scourge aimed to cripple it, severing a key link in the Alliance's northern network. The timing of these twin assaults was no coincidence. By striking Goldshire and Southshore simultaneously, the Scourge sought to stretch Alliance resources thin, forcing Stormwind and Lordaeron's remnants divide their attention between protecting their heartland and reinforcing their northern outposts. In Goldshire, the proximity to Stormwind drew a swift response. Militia and knights rode out from the city to bolster the hamlet's defenses, driving back the undead after hours of grueling combat. The victory was Pyrrhic. Homes lay in ruins, and the once cheerful village bore the scars of a foe that knew no mercy. Southshore's fate was grimmer. Though its defenders held the line long enough to evacuate many civilians, the town suffered heavy losses, its docks splintered, and its morale shaken. These attacks served as a grim harbinger of the Scourge's full might. They demonstrated the undead's ability to coordinate across vast distances, striking with speed and ferocity that caught even the seasoned commanders off guard. For the people of Goldshire, the assault shattered their sense of safety so close to Stormwind's walls, while Southshore survivors grappled with yet another blow to their embattled home. The Scourge's message was clear. No corner of the Alliance was beyond their reach. As the war with the Lich King loomed, these early incursions set the stage for horrors to come, galvanizing the Alliance to prepare for a conflict that would test the very survival of the living in Azeroth. Cataclysm. By the time the Cataclysm shook Azeroth to its core, the Forsaken, under the iron will of Sylvanas Windrunner, had escalated their campaign to dominate the Hillsbrad Foothills, turning their necromantic arsenal against the beleaguered Alliance. Southshore, a long-standing bastion of human resistance, and the surrounding settlements of Hillsbrad Fields, fell to a new devastating weapon, the New Plague. This dangerous concoction, defined by the Royal Apothecary Society, was unleashed with ruthless precision, blanketing Southshore in a toxic mist that corroded flesh, poisoned the earth, and rendered the town utterly uninhabitable. Buildings crumbled under the blight's corrosive touch, and the once vibrant port became a ghost town, its docks rotten in a sea of sludge. The surviving inhabitants, those who escaped the initial onslaught, fled in terror, scattering to refugee camps or distant Alliance strongholds, their homes lost to the creeping decay. Hillsbrad Fields fared no better. Its fertile soil turned barren, its people either dead or displaced. Emboldened by this triumph, the Forsaken sought to solidify their grip on Hillsbrad, viewing it as a stepping stone to reclaiming all of Lordaeron for the Horde. Their forces, a grim tide of undead soldiers and plague wagons spread across the region, fortifying key points like Tarren Mills and establishing new outposts amidst the ruins. Sylvanas' vision was clear: to transform Lordaeron into a dominion of the dead, a dark mirror of its former glory, with Hillsbrad as a critical foothold. The Alliance's defeat here was not just a tactical loss, but a psychological blow, signaling the Forsaken's unrelenting ambition and the potency of their alchemical warfare. Amid this turmoil, the mages of Dalaran entered the fray, their floating city still under reconstruction after its destruction by Archimonde in the Third War. From their temporary base in the Alterac Mountains, the Kirin Tor waged a fierce resistance against the Forsaken, their arcane might clashing with the undead's blight and shadow magic. Fireballs illuminated the night sky, and portals ferried reinforcements to contest the Forsaken's advance. However, their efforts in Hillsbrad were short-lived. The resurgence of the Lich King in Northrend demanded their full attention, prompting the mages to complete Dalaran's restoration and lift it into the skies once more, relocating to the frozen north to spearhead the campaign against Arthas. They left Hillsbrad behind, their departure creating a void the Alliance struggled to fill. What remained of the Alliance activity in the region coalesced around two focal points: Dalaran's crater and the rugged peaks known as the Four Fingers of Alterac. The crater, a scar left by Dalaran's uprooting, became a rallying ground for scattered human and elven forces, its jagged edges a natural fortification against Forsaken incursions. Meanwhile, the Four Fingers, four prominent ridges in Alterac Mountains, served as a stronghold for the Stormpike clan, stalwart dwarves of the Alliance. Bolstered by their new allies, the Bloodfang Worgen, ferocious survivors of Gilneas' curse, the Stormpike launched guerrilla raids to dislodge the Forsaken from the Highlands. Their combined forces struck with hammer and claw, aiming to reclaim strategic overlooks and disrupt Horde supply lines. Yet, their efforts were undermined by Horde sabotage. Forsaken agents poisoned wells, collapsed tunnels, and rigged traps across the Fingers, turning the terrain into a deadly gauntlet that blunted the Alliance's momentum. Further chaos erupted at Brazzy Farmstead, a once quiet homestead in western Hillsbrad. Warden Stillwater, a deranged Forsaken overseer, unleashed a horde of mindless undead upon the area, transforming it into a nightmarish battleground. These shambling horrors, animated by Stillwater's twisted experiments, terrorized the farmstead's remaining defenders, Alliance holdouts, and desperate farmers alike. The fields, already scarred by war, became a slaughterhouse, the undead tearing through barricades and dragging victims into the shadows. Stillwater's actions, whether sanctioned by Sylvanas or born of his own madness, exemplified the Forsaken's relentless cruelty, further entrenching their dominance in the region. By the Cataclysm's end, Hillsbrad stood as a testament to the Forsaken's dark ascendancy. Southshore's ruins and the plagued remnants of Hillsbrad Fields symbolized the Alliance's retreat, while the Horde's expansive ambitions cast a long shadow over Lordaeron. The Stormpike and Bloodfang's resistance, though valiant, faced an uphill battle against a foe that thrived on desolation. With Dalaran gone and the Four Fingers compromised, the Forsaken pressed forward, their plague-stained banners a grim promise of the conquest yet to come. Legion. During the cataclysmic return of the Burning Legion to Azeroth, the Hillsbrad Foothills emerged as a critical battleground, targeted by the demonic forces as one of their primary invasion points in the Eastern Kingdoms. The Legion, under the command of their infernal overlords, sought to exploit the region's strategic position, its proximity to Lordaeron's heartland, and its history of conflict, making it a vulnerable yet symbolically potent foothold. Portals tore open the sky above the rolling hills, spewing forth waves of Felguards, Doomguards, and Fellhounds, their sulphurous stench mingling with the pastoral air. The invasion was relentless, with the demons aiming to establish a staging ground for which to spread their corruption northward into the Plaguelands and beyond. In a rare moment of unity, the defense of Hillsbrad brought together an unlikely coalition: the Alliance, the Horde, and the Illidari. The Alliance, bolstered by Stormwind Knights and remnants of Lordaeron's militia, rallied from their battered outposts, their banners raised high against the infernal tide. The Horde, led by the Forsaken Blightcallers and Orcish warriors, fought with equal ferocity, their dark pragmatism complementing the Alliance's valor. Joining them were the Illidari, demon hunters loyal to Illidan's Stormrage, whose fell-tainted blades and otherworldly agility carved through the Legion's ranks with surgical precision. This tripartite alliance, forged in the crucible of necessity, turned Hillsbrad Fields into a sprawling battlefield, where arcane barrages, plague clouds, and Felfire clashed in a symphony of destruction. The defense was a grueling affair. At Southshore's ruins, Alliance paladins held the line against towering infernals, their holy light searing through demonic flesh. Near Tarren Mill, Horde warlocks unleashed torrents of shadow magic, while Illidari glaive wielders danced through the chaos, severing the Legion's commanders from their minions. The Alterac Mountains became a choke point, where combined forces ambushed demonic reinforcements, collapsing fell portals with coordinated strikes. After days of unrelenting combat, the Coalition prevailed, shattering the Legion's foothold in Hillsbrad. The victory, though costly, stood as a testament to the power of unity against a common foe, leaving the region scarred but free of demonic dominion, for the time being. In the aftermath, as the dust settled and the factions returned to their uneasy truce, a new threat emerged in Hillsbrad's shadows: Ravenholt Manor. The secretive stronghold of the rogue order known as the Uncrowned came under attack by Valatos, a formidable agent of the Legion's lingering influence. Valatos, a dreadlord of cunning and malice, sought to undermine the region's stability by targeting the Uncrowned, whose network of spies and assassins had proven instrumental in thwarting demonic plots. The manor, hidden amidst the rugged hills, was a fortress of stealth and subterfuge, its halls lined with traps and its agents masters of the blade and shadow. The assault was swift and brutal. Valatos, cloaked in an aura of fell energy, breached Ravenholt's defenses with the cadre of demonic thralls, his whip-like tail lashing out as he tore through the manor's guardians. The Uncrowned, led by figures like Lord Jurok Ravenholt and their elite operatives, mounted a fierce counterattack. Agents of the Order, rogues clad in dark leather and wielding poisoned daggers, engaged Valatos in a deadly game of cat and mouse, striking from the shadows and vanishing before his retaliatory strikes could land. The battle raged through the manor's twisting corridors and hidden chambers, the air thick with the clash of steel and the hiss of fell magic. Ultimately, the Uncrowned's tenacity prevailed. Cornered in the manor's deepest sanctum, Valatos faced a barrage of coordinated assaults. Blades flashed from every angle, traps sprung to life, and a final decisive blow from an unseen hand. The Dreadlord fell, his fell essence dissipating into the ether, leaving Ravenholt battered but intact. The victory reaffirmed the Uncrowned's resilience and their vital role to Azeroth's unseen wars, even as Hillsbrad remained a land where peace was fleeting and new threats lurked just beyond the horizon. Later years. Several years after the catastrophic destruction of Southshore at the hands of the Forsaken's new plague, during the Cataclysm, the tides of fortune shifted once more in Hillsbrad Foothills. The Alliance, determined to reclaim a foothold in the region and restore a symbol of their resilience, mounted a concerted campaign to retake the ruined town. After fierce skirmishes with the lingering Forsaken patrols and their Horde allies, Alliance forces, comprising of Stormwind soldiers, Gilnean Worgen, and a contingent of Dwarven engineers, successfully drove out the undead occupiers. Southshore, though a shadow of its former self, was wrestled back from the brink, its plagued streets and crumbling docks fallen silent under the banners of the Lion. The reclamation marked the beginning of an arduous process of renewal. The town, once a thriving coastal settlement, lay in tatters, its buildings reduced to husks, its soil saturated with blight, and its waters fouled by the remnants of Forsaken alchemical devastation. Alliance commanders prioritized cleanup, deploying teams of priests and druids to purify the land. Holy light and nature magic worked in tandem to purge the lingering toxins, while laborers hauled away debris and engineers drafted plans to rebuild the docks and homes. The effort was slow, but steady, with Southshore's skeletal frame gradually taking shape anew, stone by stone, plank by plank. For the Alliance, this was more than reconstruction. It was a statement of defiance against the Horde's encroachment, a beacon of hope amidst Hillsbrad's blood-soaked history. Yet, the broader region remained far from pacified. According to Matthias Shaw, the cunning spymaster of SI-7, the Hillsbrad Foothills teemed with threats that complicated the Alliance's ambition. The Scourge, though diminished since the Lich King's fall, persisted in pockets across the land. Roman bands of mindless undead, ghouls and skeletons unshackled from central command, haunted the forests and fields, attacking anything that crossed their path. The remnants, likely stirred by the region's proximity to the Plaguelands, posed a constant danger to Southshore's rebuilding efforts, forcing the Alliance to maintain vigilant patrols and establish watchtowers along the town's perimeter. The Worgen as well cast a wild shadow over Hillsbrad. Descendants of Gilneas' cursed populace, Many had allied with the Alliance, their ferocity a boon in battle. Yet not all Worgen were so disciplined. Feral packs, driven mad by their affliction or rejecting human authority, roamed the hills, clashing with both Alliance settlers and Horde scouts, their howls echoing through the night, a reminder of the thin line between ally and predator. Shaw noted their presence with a mix of respect and caution, recognizing their strength but wary of their unpredictability in a region already stretched thin. Add into the unease were the ghosts that lingered in Hillsbrad's scarred landscapes. The region's centuries of violence, wars, betrayals, and plagues had left an indelible mark, birthed in restless spirits that refused to fade. Southshore's ruins, in particular, whispered with the shades of its fallen defenders and citizens, their ethereal forms drifting through the fog-laden streets. Hillsbrad Fields harbored spectral farmers, eternally tending phantom crops, while the Alterac Mountains concealed the vengeful ghosts of Alterac's betrayed nobles. These apparitions, though not always hostile, unnerved the living, their presence a constant reminder of the land's unhealed wounds. Matthias Shaw's reports painted a picture of Hillsbrad Foothills' influx, a region where the Alliance's triumph at Southshore was but a fragile victory amidst a sea of peril. The Scourge, Worgen, and Ghost formed a trifecta of chaos, each threatening to unravel the progress made. For the settlers and soldiers tasked with rebuilding, every day was a battle, not just against the Horde, but against the very essence of a land steeped in turmoil. Southshore's revival stood as a testament to their determination, yet Shaw's warnings underscored a harsh truth. In Hillsbrad, peace was a dream perpetually deferred, and the shadows of the past were never far behind. Join me next week for the beginning of a 5-part series diving deep into the lore surrounding the once vibrant and successful city, now a husk of its former self and dungeon, of Stratholme. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Content comes out weekly with lore videos on Sunday, ambiance videos on Monday, with retail or classic paladin and druid content on Thursday.